So we've been using some of the skills we learned in the previous lessons to find exact trig ratios of certain angles in degrees or radians, mostly in radians. So let's just finish up some questions. Remember, all these are going to use the unit circle. But to use the unit circle, I need sine, cosine, or tan, and I need an angle from 0 to 2 pi. If it doesn't have that, I have to find a coterminal angle. So the first one here, I am asked, just to sort of refresh your memory, I'm asked to find the cos of 3 pi over 2. What does that mean? That means that I have to find the x-coordinate of the point on the unit circle where theta is 3 pi over 2. Because cos means the x-coordinate of the point on the unit circle, sine means y, tan means y divide x. So if we draw a little sketch, where's 3 pi over 2? Where's 3 pi over 2? Sorry? Can't hear you. Yes, well, where is that? Where do I go? So I go down here, right? 3 pi over 2 is here. And that's the point 0, -1. And I'm looking for the x-coordinate. So my answer is going to be 0. In B, there's 2 problems. 1, it's cotangent, and 2, the angle's way too big. It's not on the unit circle. So let's deal with this first. How do I get to an angle on the unit circle? Minus 2 pi. Until I get an angle on the unit circle. Well, how many 2 pi's am I going to have to minus? Yeah, I'm going to have to minus 4 times 2 pi. Because if I just subtract 1, I'm at 8 pi, still too big. Subtract another one, 6 pi, still too big. Subtract another one, 4 pi, still too big. Subtract another one, 2 pi. That's good. So now we're at the cotangent of 2 pi. Well, we don't know how to find cotangent, but we do know how to find what? We know how to find tangents. So why don't we just find the tangents? And because it's cotangent, which are inverses of each other, I find tan of 2 pi and flip it. Well, what's the tan of 2 pi? 2 pi is here, right?
1, 0.
So it's 1, 0. The tan will be 0 divided 1, won't it? Which is what? And I have to flip it. What happens when you flip 0? I know this is a little bit. Right, so how do I write 0 as a fraction? I could write it 0 divided 1, 0 divided 2, 0 divided 3, and then flip it. What's it gonna be? Undefined. It's undefined. 7 pi cos. What do I need to do? Yeah, I have to subtract 3 2 pi's to get it to an angle between 0 and 2 pi. So that gives me cos pi. That one I can do. Where's pi? Here.
-1, 0.
So it's -1, 0. I'm looking for the x, -1. And this one, tan's good, but angle, I need to find a coterminal angle. Plus 2 pi, but I have to change that to a fraction over 2. 4 pi over 2. But how many of those do I have to add? What's -5 pi over 2 plus 4 pi over 2? That's still too small, right? So if I do it once, I get tan -pi over 2. Too small, I got to do it again. I got to add another 4 pi over 2. So I get tan 3 pi over 2. Well, 3 pi over 2 is here. It's going to be the y coordinate divided the x. So it's going to be -1 divided 0, undefined. Whoa. Hello. Stop it. Undefined. Okay. Now, the final thing you can be asked to do with these is multiple operations. Well, it's pretty straightforward. When you have ones that involve multiple trig ratios, just do them separately and then do the operations at the end. So for this one, I'm going to find cos 5 pi over 3. I'm going to find sine pi over 6. I'm going to find cos pi, and then I'm going to add and subtract the square. Yep. No, I'm not going to do that yet. I'm just going to do these ones first, and then I'm going to square it after. So what's cos 5 pi over 3? 5 pi over 3 is in this quadrant 4, and it's the short value x, so it's half. Sine pi over 6. Sine pi over 6. Here's pi over 6. What's the y value? Y. What? It's also a half. What's cos pi?
No.
-1. Remember, pi is here, x value is -1. Now what I'm going to do, now that I have all these answers, I'm going to put it together. So I'm going to do 1/2 plus 1/2 minus -1 squared. Well, what's half plus a half? Minus what's -1 squared? And what's 1 minus 1? There's my final answer. So my next one. Find each one separately and then do the operations after. So find sine 4 pi over 3, find cotangent pi over 6, find cos 5 pi over 4, and then put those back in and do your operations. Sine 4 pi over 3, I don't have to change anything there. Negative 2 root 3. Negative 2 root 3? Negative root 3 over 2. Using the unit circle. What do I got to do with this? I got to find tan and flip that answer. So tan pi over 6, well, pi over 6 is here. That's root 3 over 2, comma 1/2, which means I have to do 1/2 divide root 3 over 2 and remind myself to flip that answer. I'm going to move this down actually a little bit, get it out of the way. Hang on. So it's going to be 1/2 times 2 over root 3 and flip. 2's cancel above and below. So I'm 1 over root 3 and flip, which means I get root 3. And then the last one. What was it? Cos 5 pi over 4. Negative root 2 over 2 using the unit circle. So now I take all those three answers I got and plug them in here. So I've got negative root 3 over 2 times root 3 plus negative root 2 over 2 squared. Okay, well, I'm going to write root 3 as a fraction. What do I get when I multiply these two? What's root 3 times root 3? It's negative root 9, which is just, so it's negative 3 up top, 2 on the bottom. Well, a negative squared, it's going to be a positive answer. What's root 2 times root 2? Just 2, because it's the square root of 4, which is 2. And on the bottom is 2 times 2. Well, that reduces to 1/2. So when I add those, what do I get? Negative 2 over 2, which becomes negative 1. So you can see they get a little involved. Okay, so you guys can do it. And the last one we'll look at, anybody still need this? A question like this, like one of these, is pretty safe to say that it's going to appear on the prevention. It's pretty safe to say. I don't think it's been a year where it passes. Okay, so this one. So we got to find sine of negative pi over 4. And we've got to find the secant of 7 pi over 3. And then when we get those two answers, we have to divide. Well, what do I have to do here before I can use the unit circle? I'm going to add a 2 pi. But as fourths, it's 8 pi over 4. So that gives me negative 1 pi plus 8 pi gives me 7 pi over 4. That's on the unit circle. Negative root 2 over 2. Couple of issues with this one. We've got a reciprocal trig, and it's too big. Because remember, 2 pi is 6 pi over 3. That's too big. 7 pi over 3. So we're going to have to subtract the 2 pi, or as a fraction over 3, 6 pi over 3. So that gives me secant pi over 3. That is an angle on the unit circle. How are you going to find this?
Cosine.
You're going to find the cosine of pi over 3. And then do what? Flip it. Pi over 3 is, it's a half. So it's a half flipped, which is 2. So now we divide the 2. Negative root 2 over 2, divide 2 or 2 over 1, is the same as negative root 2 over 2 times 1/2, negative root 2 over 4. Notice we couldn't cancel the 2's that time. Okay. So that takes us to the end of 4.4.